Are you starting from zero? Learn how to build your credit the right way, only on WealthWise Hub.
All right, everyone. Let's dive into something that I think we all could use a little help with sometimes. We're building credit from scratch today.
Yeah. We're going to make this as painless as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And to make sure we're giving you guys, the best information possible, we've got some great resources in front of us. We got some stuff from Experian, NerdWallet, AARP even. So like we're coming at this from a few different angles.
Yeah, and this is important stuff, right? Because good credit is kind of the ticket to, bigger and better financial opportunities. Lower interest rates when you need a loan, better credit card rewards, might even give you an edge when you're trying to rent an apartment.
Yeah, no, totally. It's crazy how many things are tied to your credit score these days.
It's true.
So let's break this down. Like, if you're starting with zero credit history, it can feel kind of like you're trying to travel hack with an empty account.
Totally.
But that's where, from what I understand, secured credit cards come in. It's like the beginner's toolkit for building credit.
Yeah, absolutely. Think of it like a security deposit, kind of like what you put down when you're renting an apartment.
Okay, yeah,
Give it to the credit card company. It's usually refundable, and that usually becomes your credit limit. It minimizes their risk and yours while you're getting the hang of using credit responsibly.
so it's like having the training wheels on.
Oh, exactly, exactly.
So you can kind of get used to using the credit, making sure you're, making your payments on time,
Yeah,
and just like building that positive, I guess, track record. And I've also heard about becoming an authorized user on someone else's account. Is that a good option for someone new to credit?
yeah, it definitely can be. But it all boils down to having really clear and open communication with whoever the primary account holder is, because their credit history, like their habits, will become a part of yours.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, shared responsibility for sure. You're building your credit, but if they miss a payment or they're racking up a big balance, it can actually impact your score too.
Oh, wow. So really choose your credit card companions wisely.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about something that I thought was super interesting when I was doing a little research for this, and that's credit builder loans, which is kind of like flipping the script on the traditional loan, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how those work?
Yeah. So with a credit builder loan, you're basically paying yourself to build credit. So you make, regular payments to the lender, and once you've paid off the entire loan, then you get access to those funds. So it's a really good way to establish a positive payment history and potentially even earn a little bit of interest, while you're at it.
It's a win-win.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a good option for people who are new to credit or who are maybe trying to rebuild their credit after, maybe a couple of missteps.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, now I know co-signing can be tempting for someone who's trying to get their credit score up, but it's also a really big deal.
It is.
What should our listeners really keep in mind if they're considering this?
Yeah, so co-signing is kind of like you're vouching for somebody else's debt. Right. You are equally responsible for that debt. So, like, if they decide, you know what, I don't want to pay this anymore, guess what? That responsibility falls on you.
Oh, yeah, it's all you.
Yeah. So before you even think about doing that, make sure you really understand, like, what are the risks involved? What is your relationship like with this person? And are you actually prepared to handle that entire debt if for whatever reason they can't?
That's such a good point. I know feel like, yeah, a lot of people don't think about that when they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll co-sign.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility. So, make sure you go into it with your eyes wide open.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, now on to, I guess, like the bedrock of building good credit.
Mm.
Paying your bills on time seems very, very straightforward. I have a feeling there might be a little more to it.
Always. Right. So think of it this way, like it seems simple, right?
Yeah.
But when you're consistently paying all your bills on time, rent, utilities, even your streaming services, it shows that you're responsible with your money.
Right.
And now, with all these new financial tools, there's even more reason to stay on top of those bills because you can actually get credit for paying things like your rent or your phone bill on time.
Wait, Philly.
Yeah. So there's this thing called Experian Boost. And basically, you connect your bank account to this platform and it identifies your recurring payments. And if you're consistently, paying those on time, it actually gets added to your credit report, which can give your score a nice little
So
boost.
it's like every little bit helps.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, now let's tackle something that I think trips a lot of people up, and it definitely tripped me up when I was first learning about credit, and that is credit utilization. What is the deal with that, and how can our listeners like use that to their advantage?
Okay, so imagine your credit card is like a gas tank. If you're constantly driving around with your tank on empty, that's not great for your car, right? Same idea with your credit. You want to make sure you're not maxing out your cards every single month. Aim to keep your balances below 30% of your total credit limit. So, for example, if your credit limit is, say, $1,000, try to keep your balance under $300.
Great, yes.
It just shows the lenders that you're not overly reliant on credit and that you're managing it responsibly.
So if someone is like actively working on building their credit, what would be like two key takeaways that they should keep in mind?
I would say, number one, start small. You don't have to go out and get like 5 credit cards and a loan all at once. Start with something manageable, like a secured card or a credit builder loan, and kind of go from there. And the second thing is be patient. Building good credit takes time and it takes effort. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I love that. A marathon, not a sprint.
It's so true. Okay, so for everyone listening, thinking about like starting this credit building journey, what's standing out to you most? What are you most interested in learning more about or even trying yourself? Each one of these steps, from understanding like those secured cards to figuring out this whole credit utilization thing, they all play a role in kind of like painting this picture of your financial responsibility.
Yeah, and I think the biggest takeaway is that every positive financial decision you make today, it's like you're putting a little bit of money in the bank for your future self, right? You're investing in a brighter and more financially secure future for yourself. So take it one step at a time, celebrate the small wins, and just remember that you've got this.
You heard it here.